Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. Well, yeah, good afternoon. It's Paul with my last video for this year. Christmas is coming up. I'll stop working, as eventually most of us will. And I had one last message to end this year with. And the message I wanted to give, if you're willing to listen, is basically forgiveness. Um, I think that forgiveness is the key to most of the issues. The unwillingness to forgive people who smite you, who upset you, who attack you, who offend you, people who we feel we're being attacked by. Forgiving them isn't freeing them. When we forgive, at least in my case, when I forgive, I used to eventually, originally, I used to take a long time to forgive, a very long time. And for years, there were certain instances of people I couldn't forgive. But when I came to understand the importance of forgiving as one is supposed to forgive in the right way, in other words, saying the words, I forgive that person for, not necessarily in front of the person, I found that doing that sooner gave me a life. Um, Forgiveness isn't a feeling, it's a decision. It's a bit like love. Begins with a feeling, but eventually true love, people stay together, they continue to respect each other, marriages remain intact, apart from the obvious circumstances where the marriage is completely broken, but it continues because we love each other despite each other's failings. And forgiveness is very similar in that it's not a feeling. I don't need to feel like I really forgive that person because I might be hurt. I might be deeply hurt. I might be upset. There may be repercussions, okay, beyond simply being hurt to my life, to my family, when other people do things that upset or hurt me and my family. But so forgiveness should not be contingent on feelings. It's a decision that we make. Now, if the feeling follows later on and you don't feel angry or upset at that person, then it's quite possible that you're over it. But forgiveness is the first step, saying it aloud. So I got into the habit when people upset me, as I upset people, I know I do, okay? But when people upset me, because other people also upset other people, I've made it a habit to forgive immediately. So the moment I feel it's entrenching and it's stressing me out and I'm getting a bit obsessive about it and it's beginning to take up more space in my life than it really should, that is a trigger for me to say, I forgive that person. And now I've reached the stage, I think, that when I actually say the words, it's a hugely cathartic effect that I experience. I actually feel peace coming back into my life because I'm not trapped by it. I'm not wound into that wrestle with that person psychologically, and I'm freed, and so I can get a life. Now, I've heard the expression, and probably so have you heard the expression that I forgive but I don't forget. I have a few views about that. Well, first of all, I get why people say that because sometimes you can be so hurt that it's difficult to forget. But the fact that you're forgiven, what does it mean then? It means that the person is of no real consequence in my emotional life, in my thinking life. They're not taking up space in my life unnecessarily because I forgive them. But I don't forget is fine as long as it isn't meant to mean in your mind that I will pay them back or I just simply will find an opportunity to get back at them, or I will badmouth them. I will warn other people against that person. Why? Because you haven't really forgiven if you're still invested in that person somehow, even if it's remotely. Usually, after arguments and discords in the family and in the workplace, we find that people get trapped in these virtual wars, which are non existent, really. They're not real wars. And it makes your life more difficult, very difficult to go to work, to be at work with that person, because often we have to be with that person. And at work, generally, we're spending more time with those people than we do with our own people. So you can't really escape them. And so forgiving that person internally and even uttering the words verbally, I do it. I actually say the words. I don't just think it and say it in my heart. I speak it and I say, I forgive X for that. goes a long way to giving you a life, which is what you deserve. I once heard it explained to me this way, that um, the person asked the question and said, what is the opposite of love? And I said hate, as would most of us, that hate is the opposite of love. This person, actually, who I respect greatly in my life, used to help me out a lot, very much in the past also. He reminded me that the opposite of love is not hate. Love and hate are the opposite sides of the same coin, same situation. You can love a person and hate them the next day. You can not forgive them and then forgive them and get on again and then not forgive them. You're trapped. The opposite of love is indifference. Indifference, in other words, is I don't care about that person, their life, and what happens to them. So is indifference the answer? In my view, it's not. It may give you a complete feeling of carelessness towards that person, but it's not love. So love basically is a decision. And a decision to love also begins with a decision to forgive. Because you know what? If you've been around some time, don't have to be around for a long time. Even a couple of years into your life, you realized that people are there to disappoint you, that people are there to hurt you also, not just to love you, to support you, to help you in life, and to tell you nice things. It can be very difficult dealing with people. And I found that forgiveness is my way through that all. I hope this helps you, most definitely in the workplace, because we are usually mixing with people all the time, and we upset each other, we misunderstand each other, we take things personally. Get over it. Forgive the person. I don't mean walk up to them and say, I forgive you. That might even cause an argument, okay? I mean, verbalize the words on your own somewhere and say, I forgive that person. Now, in my personal life, just to end, I just wanted to add this because it's important. What I'm telling you, I know it sounds great, but in practice, it's not so easy to do, because the emotions within you are powerful. The emotions of anger, of resentment, of wanting to hurt the person back. But if you can overcome the emotions and say the words, I forgive you for, and articulate what it is you're forgiving for, on a psychological level, I found it helps me a lot. But what really helps me get through that process, and this is me, okay? I'm not saying you should in any way be the same as me. It would be great if you did, because it's a great existence to have faith. And in my faith, that is, as a Christian, as a Catholic, a convinced practicing Catholic who makes mistakes, as I keep on reminding you, when I have to forgive something which is really hurtful, I also keep in mind Christ, who died for me, that he forgave me my sins. And so the image I have that I compare, shouldn't I forgive that person, is not against myself and what they've done, but I bounce it across the eternal forgiveness and mercy of a man who died for me and my sins 2,000 years before me and continues to die for us all. And that, when I place that person and that situation at his feet, forgiveness to me, for want of a better word, is turbocharged. It's freeing, because I can get on with my life. So I hope this helps you. It's not something you often hear of, especially in the workplace, but forgiveness really is the key to much, much, much trouble. Thank you.